We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Happy Father's Day
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
to all the fathers.
Yeah, and stepfathers and the mothers, single mothers. I've seen that a lot.
No, not single mothers. They have their day. Well, Mother's Day.
All right.
They can't have Father's Day as well just because they're single mothers. Sorry.
I've seen that a lot though.
Really?
It's a lot of yeah. It's mostly from companies, but it's it's not exclusive to just fathers now. It's
also, don't forget about your mother, that kind of thing, is it?
well, I think it's more applicable to maybe same-sex marriages too. Two women marriages. One of them is technically a father, I suppose, but not a father. So those day too.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm losing track.
Why do we have to appease everyone? Do we have a Mother's Day? You're a mother. There you go.
Appease no one, I say.
It's just an excuse to sell cards, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't think any lesbian mothers are too pushed about Father's Day today. Really.
No.
A lot of cultures don't even celebrate birthdays, like.
Yeah.
It varies, doesn't it? Varies from country.
I wouldn't even mind. In fact, if instead of all these special days, if they were just days off, like just bank holidays or something for everyone, and like do whatever you want, but just don't make it a special day for different people, I'd probably be a lot happier.
Yeah. I don't know where I draw the line though on these holidays. Like Christmas, yeah, I accept Christmas, Easter, Halloween, they all at least have a bit of a theme. Valentine's Day, it's pushing it. Father's Day, Mother's Day, nah.
They're borderline, all right. Very
there.
Like I would never really get my mother and father gifts for Mother's and Father's Day. Like I'd get them a bar of chocolate or something. And that'd be it.
And even like remember Patrick's Day? Well, obviously you remember Patrick's Day. Do you remember the Arthur's Day?
Yes,
Arthur's
I do.
Day.
Yeah.
Well, that was completely by design.
That was it, like happening in front of our eyes. Just a company going, "I'm going to create a holiday to sell stuff."
Mm-hmm.
Which is what they did in the past with Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and that's stuck. Like,
but
at least they could say, well,
didn't.
That was to do with a saint or something. Those St. Patrick's Day and St. Valentine's Day. This was just Arthur. He's not
Arthur Guinness,
saint.
who was like a very loyal Protestant unionist, like.
Patron saint of pints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that lasted about 3 years.
I think they had to pack it in because they were just getting more negative publicity from people getting fucking smashed on Guinness and falling about in the street at like 3 PM on a weekday.
Very fair, like, and it wasn't a public holiday, so
yeah, it's like you'd have to book it off. Like, what do you need the day off for? Oh, it's Arthur's Day.
And someone who was a barman during the time, that, what was it, 1759? That was the worst. You just knew you were going to get absolutely hammered by everyone and their mother trying to get a pint for that time. So yeah.
And I've heard that it doesn't even matter. The two-part pour doesn't matter a fucking jot.
I mean, sorry, you go first because you know more.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it's more because it's the Guinness's what do you call it, like, standard of excellence. They want to do it, but it's also because it's visually the draw. You go into a pub and you look over at the bar, and there's no other pint sat on a counter mid pour, so it just draws your attention to it. So it's a sales thing too. But there'd be people like, if Mannix was on here now and Mike, they'd be like, oh no, they'd swear by it.
Yeah,
and that's fair too.
I've spoken to barmen who are just like, it just totally depends on the bar and what the taps are like. If it's like I don't know, good clean tap, you can just pour it all in one, and they're like, it's not going to make a difference. If you're in a shitty bar where the supply is shit or whatever, then no matter what you do, it's going to be like a bad pint of Guinness. But
Yeah.
depending on the pour. I will say one thing: the worst thing is when you're in a busy bar and it's midnight, something like that, and you're queuing, and the guy in front of you goes, "Can I have 3 pints of Guinness?" Fuck sake, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing I don't miss now.
That kind of reminds me of like queuing, because this happened to me today, queuing in like a supermarket. I was in Spar, and there was like 2 tills. And at one till, there was like 3 people queuing up with a few objects. And at another till, there was only 1 person. So obviously, I went to the one with 1 person. And they had 1 object, like a chocolate bar or something. And they rang that up. And then they said, can I get a few like pick and mix or lotto tickets or something there? And that takes them 10 minutes to pick out their lottery tickets or whatever it is. I never played it in my life, but they just go up to the box and they're looking at these colorful cards for like 10 minutes saying, oh, okay, that one or some shite. Like, and in the meantime, the 3 people at the other till have come and gone. Like,
yeah, nightmare. Were they old?
yeah,
of course.
I don't know anyone under the age of like 50 who plays like pick and mix and stuff.
No, and like, yeah, I don't know. You get to a certain age where it's like, okay, if you won 50K, would it make that much of a difference? Like you've only got 10 years left. Like
at that age, they want to win something, because they're getting to the point in life where they're not in anything else. They have nothing else at stake. The children are gone off. Everything else is finished. So like they're just thinking, they're not playing sport. Like they're not getting out of the house. So they just want scratch cards. And they're like, that's the only thing they can win at. So they keep buying shitloads of scratch cards, trying to get wins on it.
They want to make it big on winning streak. They just want all their friends to see them.
Yeah.
On the winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's like the only bit of risk that they have in their lives, It's if you're really old and
that and getting into the shower.
getting out is the problem, Flynn.
Yeah.
Slippery business.
They can always get in, stuck to it like fucking turtles on their backs.
Fuck. Imagine. I mean, we're going to get there eventually, but getting to the age where just looking at a flight of stairs is like life and death. You have to psych yourself up every time you have to go upstairs or something. Like, this could be it. This could be the last time I ever draw a breath.
Yeah. And the shower as well, like you're so vulnerable. Like, if like your kids found you and you're bollock naked and you're saggy, like that's just not the way you want to be found. You want to be found at the bottom of the stairs. Fine, it happens. you went.
It's nearly a relief to find them like that. Oh my god,
it was a bit of an oopsie, but it happened. But like, Christ, with your butthole pointing towards the fucking door. No, thank you. Let's just not do showers anymore.
Sure, I've been doing sit-down baths for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wash in the sink. It saves time.
Just don't wash.
No, I don't.
You're not near enough to anyone for them to smell you. It's fine.
That's it, and sure, after a while, your natural body oils will make you cleanse you, or that hippie fucking bollocks they go on about.
Yeah.
Take a shower. Take a shower.
Sure. Even at that age, who are you trying to impress anyway? Like, you don't need to shower for anyone. The only people you're seeing are your fucking children who probably don't want to be around you anyway.
Yeah, they do it for the priests and stuff.
Yeah.
Just get in with the big band.
Taking the priest to the special room. Isn't that right, Flynn?
Sorry, what?
The fancy room in the house, like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't say that like that at all.
You
meant suck them off in the confessional box or something.
Well, that too, Flynn, but that's for another podcast, I guess.
God, the whole concept of confessional box is so creepy when you take a step back and think about it. Having to get into like a dark box with a priest and tell them your sins, and then they give you a punishment or a penance.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that was the one thing. Like we were in a Catholic school and we did the communion, confirmation, all that stuff. But like my mother at the time always kind of said to me, like, the confession is, in children's terms, she was like, it's bollocks. Like, don't go and tell that priest all your sins. Just tell them you like pinched your brother, or like you were bold in school one time. She was like, don't go in and tell him all our secrets. Like, and she was fucking dead right. Like,
She's
Yeah,
dead
yeah.
right. Like, I never went in and told them anything like my father's a drug dealer or anything. But I wish,
yeah,
I wish my parents had told me not to take it seriously, because when I was really young, I probably did take it too seriously. I was like, oh my God.
yeah, it's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like going in and telling them that you're helping your dad commit fraud or something, like, fuck's sake.
I think priests, if you tell them something criminal like that's ongoing, they have to report it.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah.
I thought it was just if it was if someone was going to be in danger, like if someone might have harm done to them or something,
I
that
don't
they
know.
were obliged.
Maybe that's like confidentiality between like patients and doctors or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a funny one.
The weirdest part is not being able to see their face.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to make you feel like more at ease to speak? Like that there's just a fella you can't see on the other side of a
Yeah.
thin piece of wood. Like
Maybe that worked in like big cities, but like sure, out in Barry Road, it doesn't take much. He knows who you are. Like, there's no anonymity.
no, not at all. And like I've been in churches sat on the aisle where like next to the confessional boxes, you could hear it. Like absolutely you could hear every single thing that was being said.
Oh, really?
So it's not
Oh God.
yeah. Yeah, it's because
Some gas.
yeah.
Yeah. Set up a recorder or something. Get everyone
Taking notes, yeah.
blackmail
Fucking
anyone.
the Clonakilty Herald. Read all about it.
Mm.
Maggie down the road stole a loaf of bread from Centra.
Maggie,
Maggie.
How would you to steal a loaf of bread from Centra would be tricky enough, like, because you can steal a pack of chewing gum or like a box of Smarties or something, slip it into your pocket. A loaf of bread is going to stick out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you'd have to open it and take out each slice and put it somewhere.
You'd have to
up
bring
your
like a food
sleeves, like,
processor and like turn it into breadcrumbs first.
and mold it back
And
into
leave a
slices
trail
of
behind
bread.
you.
Yeah, it'd be easy for the cops to find you.
Yeah, myself and Adrian were only speaking about this the other day, but like theft in general, it just seems like it's not good value for money. You steal a loaf of bread, the risk is not worth the reward for the most part. So not really a career path to choose.
What we were actually saying was, isn't it weird to think that there's people out there who either validate or justify or think it's okay for them to like break into someone's house and take all their stuff? Like, they must just have that mindset of, well, I've had a hard life and they probably got everything given to them, so I deserve a piece of this pie. Like, I don't know. There must be just something wrong with all these people, but there's so many people who rob people.
There sure is. I don't know
Yes.
any, like, sometimes you'd hear about career criminals and they'd have made a fortune in like the drug trade or in fraud. There's no one who's made a fortune as a shoplifter.
No.
It's like this notorious shoplifter who made last year a profit of like €43.
A slice of bread.
Yeah, taking like fucking croissants from Aldi Bakery. Like,
I like the idea of those hackers who like get into people's bank accounts, but get into like thousands of accounts or millions of accounts, I don't know, and take like 5 cents.
oh
And
yeah,
just do that to thousands and thousands of people. I mean, what harm, really? I know it's wrong, I know it's illegal, but it's genius. How they were ever caught, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I guess so all it takes is one person to say, "What's this transaction?" and report it, and then people are on the case.
I would never report a 5 cent transaction. I don't care if it said "haha" as the title or something.
Yeah.
You'd be like, fair play, transfer more.
I've been getting like emails. I ordered like 6 or 7 things on Amazon recently, but they all came separately. And I get emails now past couple of weeks saying you have been refunded like 0.02 euro for like import tax returns or something. I'm like, it probably
Yeah.
costs more to send the email than the cost that I was given. Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, that's a thing now. But I think the scale that Amazon have, I think that their finance systems are nothing to run because of the amount of transactions that they're doing. It's so profitable.
We've ordered things off Amazon, and the tracker like lets you know it's due this day, and if it's a day late, it'll say give it 2 more days, and then you can ask for a refund. And we've had at least 2 things haven't come within the 3 days. Ask for a refund, then it comes, and then we get the other one.
I know.
So you're getting 2 of them, and you've only paid for 1.
Yeah,
I know. Even sometimes you can do no return refunds or something where you just say, I just want my money back for this. But and they're like, okay, because the cost of like getting it back to them, and they can't even sell it again. They just don't give a shit. So they just give you your money back.
Yeah, 100%. Like, speaking for someone who's in customer service, most companies will have a policy where, a lot of things are personalized too, or literally so depreciated in just transit and opening the box that to get them back, rebucks it, have someone reseal it to put it back on the site is no point. And like when we get returned goods, they're like incinerated. So it's probably a good thing for the business to not have that burden of, number one, the environmental costs that they have to incur. I assume there's taxes on it. And the big cost of getting it back, and what do you do with it? Someone with someone's name on it, a bracelet with someone's name on it. So what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, fair enough.
I sure hope another Amy orders this.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty true. But yeah, fuck Amazon. Give us free stuff.
Yeah, fuck Amazon.
Fine. But you can abuse their returns policy 100%. Depends on the time of year as well.
Oh yeah.
So they take on so many seasonal stuff, like fucking November, December, January, just plow on. We're talking about theft and who do it, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. We don't condone that sort of behavior. Or do we? I'm not even sure anymore.
Well, it depends, right? Take away from a corporation, Amazon, perhaps that's deemed somewhat okay, but a lot of them are individual businesses and individual owners on Amazon now, right? It's not just made by Amazon. There's lots of others, so it depends.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Pick and choose who you feed from. That's the moral of the podcast.
Have you guys ever had anything stolen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not long ago. Yeah, I had like $1,000 taken from my account like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I think you were saying that.
Yeah. But it got sorted within 24 hours, and I have to say, permanent TSB, good stuff. Don't agree with your quarterly charges, but I do agree with your giving me back my €1,000.
They got to the bottom of it anyway. They found out who it was.
Yeah, I think it was sus anyway. I think what kind of gave it away, from my understanding, is that the transactions happened within like 10 seconds of each other in Bray, when I actually bought a coffee right by my gaff, like just down the road, in between those 3 transactions, like just by chance. So it just kind of showed there really obviously that I couldn't spend 3 transactions in a shopping center in Bray and also a coffee in Cork at the same time. So that helped.
Yeah,
best espresso I've ever had.
I think I've only ever had like my phone stolen. And when I say stolen, it probably fell out of my pocket somewhere and someone just picked up, walked off with it. But I know I've had at least 2 phones taken by people. And one time, even when I rang it, they answered, and I was like, "Hi, can I get my phone?" And they just hung up.
Wow.
I know, yeah, dickheads.
Criminal masterminds.
That was before, like, Find My Phone apps and things like that. So,
Was this recently?
No, this was, I don't know, I was probably 18, 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like an old Samsung or Siemens or some old piece of shit.
Yeah, Siemens.
Hey.
I think the only thing I can remember, the only thing that I fairly sure. Actually, I'm not even sure it was stolen, but it's a theory I have. When I was on the Aran Islands, I probably told you how we rented bikes on the Aran Islands, and we went cycling, and we got to like a stone circle fort or something, and we went up. You have to go uphill to get to it. You can't take your bike, so we leave the bikes at the bottom, go up to the stone fort, come back down. Bikes are gone, and yeah, on the Aran Islands, which is like there's 200 people there, like, and
Yeah.
there's a fella, like a hackney cab kind of fella there, and he gives us a lift back in to the village, and we're like, oh, thanks so much. And we gave him like 20 euro or 15 euro or something for helping us out, and then we go back to the bike shop and tell them we think our bikes were stolen, and he's like, it was most likely the taxi drivers who just threw the bikes over the ditch or something, and then
Ugh.
pretended to be a helping hand or whatever to get to earn some money. Yeah, I know. I think that's
What's
the
the
only
point?
time. I'm not even sure that's what happened, but that's what they said happens.
I'd believe it, like, and the
I'd
bike
believe
shop's
it
in on
too.
it too.
Geez,
But
they're
this
all
is-
in on it.
This is what I mean. Like, there's actually people who go, do you know what? We'll take full advantage of these tourists. Like, that's fucking insane. Like,
Yeah, a lot of times in like high crime areas, tourists get protected status. So like cartels and stuff will protect tourist areas. Like they'll be off limits for like pickpockets and stuff because they make money off the tourists. And if tourists stop
Mhm.
coming, they lose money. So like a lot of these resorts in Mexico are like, if you travel outside the limits or the boundaries of some of these resorts, you'll be walking into like a war zone. But within the tourist area, you're fairly isolated. Like,
interesting. Very nice.
Thanks, cartels. They let us have a lovely holiday.
Mm. I mean,
Yeah,
for all
I
we
mean-
know, it's the same in like Tenerife or something where we'd go, or in France.
I'd say so. I'd say so. It's pretty because, like, I remember it's not so much now, but pickpocketing was always the big thing that everyone was like, "Oh, be careful of when you're traveling." Maybe I'm wrong, but it just doesn't seem to be an issue now as much. It doesn't seem to be as like in your face from like people that are traveling or have been abroad now. So
Mhm.
maybe they've just packed it in and started doing card fraud online and stuff. Probably
Yeah,
easier.
and I think they do tend to maybe less pickpocketing and more just like guilting, you know, these kind of things where it's like, oh hey, you know, like they just need to get your attention. And once they get your attention, you're hooked. And then they'll either try and sell you something or like they'll give you something for free but ask for a donation and you've already got it in your bag. And like in Italy, guy came up to me one time and he went out to shake his hand. And I just instinctively shook his hand, and then it was like he had me, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm having a really good day. I just wanted to give you this." And it was just like one of these like friendship fucking bracelets. He was like, "This is your girlfriend? Oh my god, she's beautiful." He started putting it on her, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I said no 100 times in a minute, I'd say, and he had it on her wrist, and he was like, "Good luck," and he walked away, and I was like, "Right, that was really weird." And then I started walking away, and he came up and he was like, "Oh, you know, if you wanted to give me some money," and I just took it off her wrist, and I just threw it at him. I was like, "No," I said no, I do not want it. He was fucking raging, but they do it to like anyone who looks from the UK, basically. Like, and I saw people giving him money. And like that's not crime, but it is taking advantage of people, you know.
Yeah.
That's a hard way to make a living too. Fuck.
Oh yeah. What are you going to
Jesus.
get? Like maybe a $5 off
Yeah.
someone every. Well, I suppose if you got like 5 people an hour,
And basically
bad.
risking getting into huge arguments every time you do it, every day.
yeah, true.
Or getting like reported to police or something.
Yeah, it's easier to just rob someone's house, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So the police are in on it too. They're all in on it. Like, who'd be a cab driver in the Aran Islands?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm.
How do they get a cab to the Aran Islands?
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
They're actually set
Very
up quite well
suspicious.
out there. A lot of they're very modern houses with like high speed Wi-Fi and stuff.
Yeah, but they all get fucking like huge grants, don't they, to like build houses out there?
Oh, it says
So they can build like $1 million house for probably like 200k.
It's like islands full of people who run carnivals. Like it's just a whole island of them.
carnies.
Yeah, looking to mug you off.
And they do.
They did, and you know what? It was nice. It was a grand all time. Apart from the bikes going missing, I'd go back.
Yeah, but it's a good
You go
story
back.
though.
That's fair. I don't know if we want to do it now, but I actually did want to talk about that positional thing in the fantasy football.
Right.
Okay.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I don't really actually know.
Okay, so this is not a fantasy football issue. This is a wider issue, right? And honestly, it doesn't really matter a fuck. But some people feel very strongly about this. So I think it stemmed from today. We were looking at some of the fantasy football things and what fantasy football counts as a striker and what it counts as a midfielder. So in fantasy football, you've got goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker. So I'm just going to take the Liverpool team, for example. The only striker in the Liverpool squad, sorry, there's two, I should say. The two strikers are Origi and Firmino. Okay? So they don't count Mane, they don't count Salah, they don't count Jota, none of them. None of them are strikers. So that doesn't make sense if you watch Liverpool because Firmino plays like further back than Mane and Salah. Then if you go to Fina different, where Salah will be like a right winger, but he'll be blue, I think, is for the forward players, and green is for the midfielders. So I guess my point is, like, would you count, if you take Liverpool, or you can talk whatever team, but like, would you count Salah as a striker or a midfielder, if you were to put it that basically?
More of a striker, I would say.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because you can make a strong argument for both. And I think that's why they're listed as midfielders still.
I don't
And
know.
I think it's still going off like the old like understanding of formations. Like we're still
We're still
the
using
fantasy game is still
formation.
going off.
Yeah, the terms from like the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think of like a winger as the left midfielder or the right midfielder.
Yeah.
But that's not how they play anymore.
Mhm.
Like,
No.
they're nearly the furthest up the pitch.
Like, and the fact that fullbacks and centre backs are considered the same level or the same category, they're just defenders, is crazy considering how different fullbacks and centre backs play now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, even the term fullback and halfback.
Yeah.
Because the fullbacks used to be the furthest back.
Mm-hmm.
But not anymore, like.
Yeah. And even halfbacks and centre backs aren't even the same thing, are they? I don't think. I think halfbacks were more like what we'd call a defensive midfielder.
Yeah. That was it.
Mm.
Because we're still going off the four position formations. There isn't really. There's probably like six. So the strikers would be, if you're breaking it down like that, like Salah and Mane wouldn't be either. Really, they wouldn't be midfielders. They wouldn't be strikers. You'd have like someone like Origi would be a striker. He's just the donkey at the end. Calvert-Lewin, Kane.
In your donkey.
Yeah, you should just call it a donkey position, because that's what that's what those players are. The only like big, like built center forward who ended up playing as like a winger position I can ever think of would be like Mandzukic. He's like the only like target man winger I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Arnautovic, was that who? I think with Stoke he played on the wing. But again, similar players, big oafs that can't play centre, so they just stick them out wide.
Another one that isn't my thing, but it's just, I suppose you could do this with every position, but a friend of mine hates the term defensive midfielder. And I think we might have even talked about this before, because his point is, as far as I'm paraphrasing now, but it's basically like, why should a midfielder be defensive? Why, you talk about Fabinho, right? I'm always talking Liverpool, but Fabinho, everyone says is a defensive midfielder because of where he plays, and he's naturally always further back than maybe the other midfielders, but he should be playing offensively. if that makes sense. So he's still scoring goals. He's still making assists. Why is it called a defensive midfielder? Why can't they all just be center midfielders?
Fair
Fair.
point. Well made.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I totally agree with it. I do think it's, the way midfield is going now, you nearly have to call them by the number, like the number 8, the number 10, the number 6, whatever. But
Yeah.
like it's naturally evolving to have more and more kind of positions in midfield. But I do understand that maybe the wording isn't accurate,
There's a fair point though, because there is the argument now. Like, I don't know if any of you are, but playing the Euros fantasy football, the kind of other two big ones outside the Premier League are in Sweden and Norway, and they have similar like attacking bonuses and defensive bonuses. Basically, if there's like a left back that makes 2 or 3 successful crosses, that gets rewarded, and that would be really good for the Premier League because that encourages attacking play, but you don't have to rely on the bigger teams that are likely to get a clean sheet. Like you could throw in Richie from Newcastle because he crosses the ball a ton, but Newcastle don't necessarily get a clean sheet very often, but it just means that they can get similar points. Mm-hmm. So although it's a work, like they say, don't change your winning formula or whatever, I get fantasy football are kind of on the money with it now, but kind of would like a bit of a change, especially to unlock that huge group of players like Kante, who are good players from good teams, but surely you're never going to have Kante because he's probably overpriced and he gets more yellows than he does goals or assists. So what's the point? What's the point of having him?
It's just so hard to quantify and put into like concrete numbers what all these contributions are worth. Like a clean sheet is easy to assign points on. A goal is easy to assign points. An assist is easy. Everything else is tough because you can have a great centre midfielder who doesn't make many passes or doesn't even make many tackles. So how can you even track what they do or give them points?
It's true. It'd have to, like, from other games, they do it on tackles. And I think they just set the limit as like 5 for every point. So every bonus point or every extra point you get, it's 5 crosses, 5 passes, 5 tackles, that kind of thing. But then you have to rely heavily on up to Joe to be giving you that data, and you just know that there'll be arguments to say, you know what it's like when you get like one of those phantom assists. Like I think Bruno Fernandes got one recently last year. Imagine like, what is a successful pass? What's a successful cross? Does it have to hit the head of the attacking forward?
Like a successful pass. Like imagine if like David Silva played a pass through the lines of defense and it bypasses like 6 people, and the player he's passing to, he just doesn't quite get there, or he or it gets intercepted just a second before. Like it might be a great pass that would split the whole defense and change the whole game and create a chance, but it wouldn't be a successfully completed pass or something.
Yeah.
It's what does my head is, midfielder plays the perfect pass through to Gabriel Jesus, who his shot is saved, and then De Bruyne comes in and finishes it off or something. And the guy who passed it the first time gets nothing, and Jesus gets an assist for fucking up the chance. That does my nut. They also need to change, like what I was saying originally, they need to add more strikers, because there's hardly any fucking strikers.
I know.
The ones that are strikers aren't even good strikers. So like Aubameyang should never have been a midfielder, just because he plays as what I would call just a wide forward now. He's suddenly a midfielder, like ridiculous.
Yeah, that really hurt us during the draft, wasn't it? Like we were picking up people like Diangane and Benteke and Wood. Well, I know he did well for, I think it was you, Flynn, but you just don't want to have those players in your team if you can.
He was in and out of the team all season.
Fan favorite, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jesus, he did.
Yeah, and all these wingers who would have been actually helpful to have in the draft were just left rotting because they were midfielders, not put as forwards. So,
do you really briefly want to talk about the Euros?
Yeah.
Okay, we got 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Go.
Cool.
Come on, Italy! Another win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. they're doing really well. But this is my point, right? Are they doing really well because they're at home all the time?
Yeah,
Because
I
there
know.
seems to be a few clubs
Yeah.
that are always home. What do we think about the multi-venue?
I'd need
No.
to see it in a non-COVID environment. Like this whole thing is just a fucking mashed together, kind of. It's held together with sellotape. This tournament, it's not supposed to really be like this. So I don't think it's right the way it is right now. But I just kind of take what I can get as far as football tournaments go. And next time, if they do this again, then I can maybe judge it. Right now, it's a bit of a mess. Like fucking England, it's basically a home tournament for.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Italy are doing
And
really
then-
well. They're really experienced and well drilled. So come on, Italy.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It's definitely benefiting some teams over others. You know, some teams are across Europe like 3 times for 3 different games. But yeah, Italy have been pretty good. Belgium, I think, have been kind of dark horses because even though they're top in the world, no one really talks about them. France, everyone thinks France are going to win. And the more I watch them, the more I kind of just think that their squad is unbelievable. But actually, you know, they can be beaten. England, no hope. Germany, maybe.
Well,
Portugal,
you can't write off the Germans, Dave.
You can't write off the Germans.
Dave. Come on, Dave.
And Netherlands even have 2 wins and 2. You know.
Yeah,
Fuck them. Frank de Boer can fuck off.
yeah. How many games was he in charge of
Patrick
Palace?
Banana. 3 too many.
Was it only
Jesus
3 games?
Christ.
I think it was 3 or 4. Yeah, he went early.
Wow.
Legend.
Yeah, I got them in the
yeah.
sweepstake, and you know, whatever.
I do remember Mourinho. Like I hate Mourinho normally, but Frank de Boer said something about him as a pundit, and Mourinho was just like, "A good thing I don't care about the opinion of the worst coach in the history of the Premier League."
Yeah,
God, he fucking
Cutting.
destroyed him there. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, there's no comeback from that.
You
'cause it's
can't.
absolutely 100% correct.
We'll get Mourinho on next time.
Yeah.
Mourinho on the
Yeah.
podcast.
The PUPcast.
Can you imagine?
We'll just tell him
He's
we're the
stuck
big
for
deal.
work.
Yeah, he's
Actually, he's not
much
stuck for work.
No, he's in Rome.
He's fucking,
Roma.
yeah, he's in Rome, living it up.
Him
Fair play
and
to him.
Sarri going to be having the Rome derby now.
Yeah.
I wonder, do people try and put bracelets on their arms?
What a way to
They're
bring
protected.
it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
All right.
All right.
1 minute. Yeah.
How much have we
We-
done?
we
So
go-
did we do 40 minutes?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We must
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
We must
yeah.
have. Fuck.
That was jam-packed 40 minutes. I must say that was very
40 minutes.
good.
Look at us. Look how efficient we are.
Efficient. Like
Yeah.
the Germans. I love how we team over in our talks in person. It's really funny.
All right.
All right. Look, talk to you in 2 weeks.
May the
Cool.
road rise to meet
Take
you.
care.
Bid you adieu. Bye.
All the
The
best.
fucking Palace.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. For more of our content, make sure that you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Outro music.